Something's happening right now in Shanghai, and it's not just another market blip. If you own silver, you need to hear this. Right now, while most of the West is winding down their weekend, a massive crisis is quietly unfolding, and the silver market is right in the middle of it. You've seen the price moves, but here's the catch. What you're seeing on the screen, it's a lie. The physical metal isn't moving. It's almost as if everyone agreed to play along with a fiction, because acknowledging the truth would shake the entire system. If you're holding paper silver, you might be about to learn an extremely expensive lesson. Stick around. In the next 72 hours, everything could change. Let's break it down. It's January 11th, 2026, and something is seriously wrong with the silver market. The Shanghai Gold Exchange, the largest physical silver market on Earth, is failing to deliver. Not just delayed, but flat out failing. The industry giants who need silver for solar panels and electric cars are standing by, waiting for their deliveries, but the vaults are coming up empty. And here's the kicker. The mainstream media wants you to believe this is just silver finding its range after a volatile December. They want you to think liquidity is fine, that it's just price discovery. But if you're paying attention, the data doesn't lie. So what's really happening, and why isn't anyone talking about it? Here's the cold, hard truth. The Shanghai Gold Exchange is at the center of this storm, and right now it's failing to deliver the metal. Let me back that up with real data. On January 9th, 2026, a staggering 17.3 tons of silver vanished from SGE warehouses in just one day. 17.3 tons gone. And that's not just a regular market fluctuation. This is a massive drain. The thing is, some of that silver was probably withdrawn for delivery. Normal operation, right? But the velocity of withdrawals is skyrocketing, and replenishment, it's nowhere near keeping up. Now think about this. If that pace continues, we're talking about running out of silver in just a couple of months. This isn't just a glitch. It's a clear sign that something big is breaking. And what happens if the silver runs dry? You don't want to find out the hard way. Now let's talk escalation. This isn't just a small hiccup. This is a pattern, and it's only getting worse. Remember what happened in 2008 when global markets teetered on the edge? This situation feels eerily similar. Back then, things started to unravel slowly. Then, in a flash, the system collapsed. What's happening now with silver is a slow burn, but it's picking up speed fast. The SGE is in full crisis mode, and yet the world still doesn't see it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The silver market is being deliberately manipulated. The system is being restructured right in front of our eyes, and most are too distracted by price swings to notice. But if this keeps going, the entire physical supply chain could implode. And if you thought that was bad, wait until you hear this. The evidence doesn't stop there. On January 5th, 2026, the Shanghai Gold Exchange raised their margin requirements to 20%. This isn't a random move. This is a flashing red alarm. Why would they do that unless they're expecting chaos? Margin hikes don't happen for small problems. They happen when the system is at risk. Think about it. If you're holding a leveraged position, even a small move against you could trigger a margin call. That's not a precaution. It's a desperate attempt to prevent a total meltdown. This isn't just a supply issue. It's a systemic crisis. And if the SGE can't deliver, there's no telling how far this will spiral. If you're relying on paper silver, you might be left holding nothing but a worthless piece of paper. Now let's stack up the pressure. First, we've got the margin hikes, then the sudden inventory drain, and now rumors of catastrophic delivery failures. Some credible sources are whispering about a request for 64 tons of silver with only 1 ton delivered. Think about that, 1.5% fulfillment. If that's true, the delivery system has completely broken down, but why would they admit it? Why would the Shanghai Gold Exchange shout from the rooftops that they can't deliver? It doesn't serve them. Instead, they're hoping to quietly manage the crisis. But here's the thing. The market is seeing this. Silver premiums are spiking. That spread between bid and ask prices is widening, and every single data point points to one thing. The supply chain is under collapse. So what happens next? If this continues, it won't just be a shortage. It'll be a full-blown catastrophe. Let's switch gears for a moment. How does all of this affect you, the average person? You might be thinking this is just a market issue, but it's not. It's a crisis that could impact every part of your life. If you rely on industrial products, think solar panels, electric vehicles, anything that uses silver, this matters. Imagine you're a manufacturer, you've got contracts lined up, and you're depending on silver to meet your production deadlines. Now, suddenly the silver isn't coming. The entire supply chain grinds to a halt. You can't fulfill orders. You lose revenue. Your customers, they get frustrated. If you think this isn't personal, think again. The ripple effects will be felt by companies large and small. This isn't just about market speculation anymore. It's about real-world consequences. If this feels familiar, say so in the comments. Let's move beyond the immediate outrage and look at the bigger picture. Why is this happening? The answer lies in the systems that allow it. It's about leverage, incentives, and the way power is structured. China's new export restrictions are part of a larger strategic game. They've locked down their silver supply, prioritizing domestic needs, and now they control the flow. The rest of the world? Left scrambling. The truth is, systems like the Shanghai Gold Exchange are designed to keep things moving smoothly, but when a disruption happens, they can't adapt quickly enough. This is where the real risk lies. The market might look fine on paper, but underneath it's a pressure cooker, and when it blows, it won't be the institutions that suffer, it'll be the people who trusted them. So what happens next? There are two possible paths, and neither is pretty. First, the SGE could manage to stabilize things. Maybe the inventory replenishes, maybe the panic subsides. But if history has taught us anything, it's that these things rarely resolve quietly. The second possibility? A full-blown short squeeze. If industrial buyers panic, they'll rush to secure their metal before it's gone. The price will spike, and with it, the margin calls and forced liquidations. The paper market will go into overdrive, the volatility will be off the charts. The question isn't if it will happen, it's when. And what happens when the paper market and the physical market completely disconnect? It's not a pretty picture, and we're right on the edge. Here's the hard truth. The screen is a suggestion. Physical metal is the reality. When you check that price quote, it doesn't tell you if you can actually get the metal at that price or what the premiums are or how long the delivery will take. In normal times, paper and physical prices track closely because of arbitrage. But right now, that system is breaking down. The paper price might say $80, but in reality, silver is trading at premiums well above that, with no end in sight. And if you're still betting on paper silver, ask yourself this: when the system fails, who's left holding the bag? Trust me, you don't want to be that person, so make sure you understand the difference between paper and metal, and stay tuned, because things are about to get a lot more interesting. Don't forget to follow for the latest updates and analysis on this evolving situation.